Take a slow breath with me now and feel the quiet miracle of being alive. Before a single thought of worry enters your mind, before the noise of the world begins its chorus of demands, there is this sacred moment, this breath, this awareness, this gentle presence that says, I am. And in those two words lives the entire universe of possibility. I am. Not I was, not I will be, I am. To trust God is to trust the very life that is breathing you right now. You do not wake yourself up in the morning. You do not command your heart to beat through the night. You do not consciously instruct the sun to rise, yet it does. There is an intelligence, a loving, unseen force that orchestrates galaxies and also orchestrates the rhythm of your lungs. And when you begin your day with gratitude, you align yourself with that force. You move from resistance into harmony, from fear into faith, from scarcity into abundance. Trusting God is not a passive act. It is not resignation. It is a profound declaration. I am willing to release the illusion of control and rest in the wisdom of the infinite. The ego will whisper something very different. It will say, you must worry to be responsible. You must fear to stay safe. You must compare to stay relevant. But the ego lives in separation. It thrives on the belief that you are alone in a hostile universe, that blessings are rare, that love is conditional, that success belongs to the chosen few. Yet look at nature. The sun does not select a few homes to shine upon. The rain does not fall only on the deserving. The ocean does not withhold its waves because someone doubted it yesterday. Nature is the visible expression of God's abundance. And you are not separate from nature. You are not separate from that intelligence. You are an individualized expression of it. When you trust God, you are not trusting something outside of you. You are trusting the divine presence within you. Imagine an orange in your hand. If you squeeze it, what comes out? Orange juice. Why? Because that is what was inside. When life squeezes you, what comes out? Fear, anger, resentment, or love, gratitude, faith. Whatever comes out was already there. The morning is your opportunity to decide what you will fill yourself with before the squeezing begins. Fill yourself with thankfulness. Say quietly to yourself, I am grateful for this breath. I am grateful for this body. I am grateful for another chance to love. Feel how those words shift your energy. Gratitude is not just a polite response to good fortune. It is a spiritual technology. It recalibrates your entire being to the frequency of abundance. The ego says, I will be thankful when things improve. The soul says, be thankful now and watch how things improve. Trust is an act of surrender, but not surrender to weakness. It is surrender to wisdom. The oak tree does not strain to grow. It trusts the soil, the rain, the sunlight. It does not wake up anxious about tomorrow's weather. It stands rooted, steady, certain that the same force that created it sustains it. You are that oak tree. You are not your anxious thoughts. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the labels that were placed upon you by people who did not see your divinity. You are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And as a spiritual being, you were born connected to the source of all creation. The ego wants you to believe that you are the wave fighting against the ocean. But the truth is, you are the ocean expressing itself as a wave. And the wave does not need to fear the future because it cannot be separated from the vastness that created it. This morning, choose to remember your vastness. There may be challenges ahead today. There may be uncertainties. There may be moments when the old habits of fear try to reclaim your attention, but you are not required to attend every argument your mind invites you to. You can observe your thoughts and gently say, thank you for your opinion, and return to trust. Trust that every experience is guiding you. Trust that every delay has a purpose. Trust that what appears as a setback may be a redirection towards something more aligned with your soul's growth. Gratitude transforms your perception, and perception is everything. Two people can walk into the same room. One sees lack, competition, and threat. The other sees opportunity, connection, and potential. The room is the same. The difference is consciousness. When you trust God and give thanks, you are choosing the lens of abundance. Ask yourself, what if this day is not happening to me but for me? What if every interaction is a teacher? What if even the difficulties are blessings in disguise, sculpting my character, strengthening my faith, deepening my compassion? There are no accidents in a divinely organized universe. The ego loves to replay the past. It says, remember what happened, remember how you were hurt, remember how you failed, and in doing so, it attempts to anchor you to an identity built on memory. But you are not your past. The past exists only as a thought in the present moment. And this moment is new, untouched, pure. When you thank God for today, you are stepping out of yesterday's shadow. Forgiveness becomes easier when you trust the divine plan. If everything has contributed to your growth, then even the painful chapters have served you. And if they have served you, you can release resentment. There are no justified resentments in a universe governed by love. Holding on to anger is like gripping a burning coal and expecting someone else to feel the pain. Let it go. Say, I trust that what happened was part of my unfolding. I choose gratitude over grievance. This is not denial, it is empowerment. To be thankful is to acknowledge that life itself is a gift. You did not earn your heartbeat, you did not purchase your consciousness. These were given freely. And when you begin to see your life as a gift rather than an entitlement, everything changes. The sky does not argue with the clouds. It allows them to pass. You are the sky, not the clouds. Thoughts, emotions, circumstances, they move through you, but they are not you. Beneath them is an unchanging awareness, peaceful, spacious, eternal. Trust that awareness. When you are centered in your spiritual identity, you are less shaken by external events. You understand that the true source of your security is not your bank account, your title, or others' approval. Your security is rooted in your connection to the divine, and that connection is unbreakable. You may forget it, you may ignore it, but you cannot lose it. This morning, before you step into your responsibilities, anchor yourself in this truth. I am guided, I am supported, I am loved. Let those words sink deeper than your doubts. Let them echo louder than your fears. Gratitude opens doors that force cannot. When you appreciate what you have, you signal to the universe that you are ready for more. Not more from a place of greed, but more from a place of alignment. Abundance is not something you chase. It is something you allow. Consider the river. It flows effortlessly around rocks. It does not resist obstacles. It moves with them. When you trust God, you become like the river, flexible, adaptable, confident that you will reach the ocean no matter how winding the path. There is immense freedom in releasing the need to control every outcome. Control is the ego's attempt to feel safe in an unpredictable world. Trust is the soul's recognition that the world is not random, but purposeful. Even now, there are blessings unfolding that you cannot yet see. Perhaps a conversation later today will spark an idea. Perhaps an unexpected delay will protect you from something unseen. Perhaps a moment of kindness will ripple outward in ways you will never fully know. Trust that life is conspiring in your favor. When you wake up thankful, you are not ignoring problems. You are choosing a higher vantage point. From the mountaintop of gratitude, challenges look smaller. They become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Ask yourself, who would I be today if I truly trusted God? How would I speak? How would I walk? How would I treat others? You would move with gentleness. You would act with courage. You would extend compassion, knowing that every person you meet is also navigating their own spiritual journey. Trust dissolves comparison. There is no need to compete when you understand that the same source that animates you animates everyone. The success of another does not diminish your light. We are not candles fighting for flame. We are reflections of the same sun. Be thankful not only for your blessings, but for the blessings of others. Celebrate their joy as evidence of what is possible in a universe of abundance. Gratitude is magnetic. It attracts more reasons to be grateful. But perhaps you say, it's hard to feel thankful when I'm facing uncertainty. And I understand that. The human experience includes pain, loss, and confusion. Trusting God does not mean you will never feel sadness. It means you will not drown in it. It means you will remember that beneath the waves of emotion, there is an ocean of peace. Allow yourself to feel, but do not forget to trust. There is a quiet intelligence within you that knows the next step. When you slow down, when you breathe, when you release the frantic need to have all the answers, you can hear it. It speaks in intuition, in nudges, in gentle clarity. The soul always knows. Begin your day in conversation with that inner voice. Ask, what would love have me do today? And then listen. When your actions are guided by love rather than fear, you become an instrument of divine will. You bring light into rooms without trying. You uplift others simply by your presence. Thankfulness softens your heart, and a soft heart is a powerful heart. Imagine what would happen if millions of people began their mornings with gratitude instead of complaint. The collective energy would shift, conflict would lessen, generosity would increase. Peace would become more than an ideal. It would become a lived reality. You contribute to that shift. Every time you choose trust over anxiety, you elevate not only your own consciousness, but the consciousness of the world. Do not underestimate the power of a thankful heart. This day is not guaranteed. It is a sacred opportunity, an invitation to express your highest self, to forgive, to create, to serve, to love. As you move forward, carry this awareness: you are never alone. The same presence that paints the sunrise walks with you into every meeting, every task, every decision. You can lean into that presence. You can whisper, "Guide me," and guidance will come. Perhaps not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. Trust that delays are divine timing. Trust that closed doors are redirections. Trust that even unanswered prayers are part of a greater orchestration. And give thanks now before you see the evidence. Say, "Thank you for the blessings I recognize, and thank you for the blessings I have yet to see." Feel how that expands your heart. When you trust God, fear loses its authority. It may still knock, but it no longer commands. You become anchored in something deeper than circumstance. You are anchored in being. The world may try to pull you into chaos. Headlines may shout. Opinions may clash. But within you is a sanctuary, a stillness untouched by external turbulence. Return to that stillness throughout your day. Close your eyes for a moment, even now, and feel the aliveness within you. That aliveness is not anxious. It is not hurried. It simply is. Rest there. From that place, gratitude flows naturally. And as you cultivate gratitude, you will begin to notice small miracles. A smile from a stranger, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the comfort of familiar voices. These are not trivial. They are reminders of love woven into ordinary moments. Trust God not only in the grand events, but in the quiet details. You are supported in ways you cannot measure. So step into this day with confidence, not because you have everything figured out, but because you trust the one who does. Step into this day with humility, knowing that you are both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Step into this day with gratitude, recognizing that life itself is the greatest blessing. Say within your heart, "I am open, I am thankful, I trust." And let those words guide your thoughts. Let them shape your actions. Let them become the foundation of your experience. For when you trust God and give thanks for His blessings, you are not merely hoping for a good day, you are creating one from the inside out. You are aligning with the infinite. You are remembering who you truly are. And in that remembrance, you find freedom. And as this new breath enters your body, recognize that it carries with it a quiet promise that life is not against you, it is for you. There is a benevolent intelligence woven into every atom of existence, and that same intelligence is animating your thoughts, your movements, your very awareness in this moment. You are not an accident drifting through random circumstances. You are a deliberate expression of divine creativity, unfolding in perfect rhythm, even when the rhythm feels unfamiliar. When you awaken with reverence for this unseen orchestration, something subtle begins to change within you. You stop measuring your worth by outcomes. You stop bargaining with the future. Instead, you begin to participate in life as a sacred dance. You move with it rather than against it. You allow instead of resist. And in that allowing, a quiet strength emerges, not the forceful strength of dominance, but the unshakable strength of alignment. Think of the vast sky stretching endlessly above you. Clouds gather, storms pass through, winds howl for a season, yet the sky remains untouched. It does not cling to the sunshine, nor fear the thunder. It simply holds space for all of it. You are that sky. Circumstances are the clouds. Gratitude is the clear blue openness that reminds you of your true nature. When you begin your day anchored in appreciation, you are choosing to identify with the sky rather than the storm. So many of us have been conditioned to believe that security comes from external arrangements, from approval, from possessions, from predictability. But the deeper truth is that real security arises from inner communion. It is the quiet knowing that no matter what unfolds, You remain connected to the source from which all solutions flow. This connection cannot be revoked. It cannot be diminished by criticism or failure. It is as constant as the tide. Imagine the ocean for a moment. Waves rise and fall endlessly. Some are gentle, some are powerful, some crash against rocks with tremendous force. But beneath the surface turbulence lies a depth so calm, so steady, that the chaos above barely disturbs it. When you trust God, you learn to live from that depth. You still experience the waves, the responsibilities, the challenges, the uncertainties, but you are no longer defined by their motion. You draw your identity from the stillness below. And from that stillness, gratitude becomes effortless. It is no longer something you force yourself to practice. It becomes the natural fragrance of your being. You begin to see that every encounter is part of your refinement. Every relationship is a mirror reflecting where love is, asking to grow. Every obstacle is an invitation to remember your resilience. There is a sacred maturity that develops when you stop demanding that life conform to your preferences and instead begin asking how you can serve the highest good in every situation. This is not passivity. It is empowerment at its purest. You are no longer reacting from fear. You are responding from wisdom. As you step into your day, notice how different it feels to move from intention rather than impulse. Before you speak, pause and let your words arise from compassion. Before you judge, soften your gaze and look for understanding. Before you rush, breathe and feel the quiet assurance that you have enough time for what truly matters. Time itself begins to shift when you live this way. The frantic urgency that once drove you starts to dissolve. You realize that the present moment is not something to endure on the way to something better. It is the very arena in which divine grace is unfolding. What if the miracle you have been waiting for is hidden inside the ordinary? What if the transformation you seek is not in some distant breakthrough, but in the gentle discipline of choosing trust over doubt, moment by moment? When you express appreciation before the evidence appears, you are demonstrating spiritual courage. You are declaring that your faith is not conditional. You are affirming that the unseen realm is as real to you as the visible one. And in doing so, you activate a deeper partnership with life itself. Consider the seed planted beneath the soil. From the outside, it appears dormant, even lifeless. Yet within its shell, an invisible process is underway. Roots begin to form. Life stirs in darkness long before any green shoot breaks the surface. If the seed could speak, perhaps it would say, "I trust the process. I cannot see." In many ways, you are that seed. There are developments taking place within you that may not yet be visible to the world. Patience, resilience, insight, these qualities are germinating in silence. Be thankful for the growth that is happening beneath appearances. You are evolving beyond the limitations you once accepted as permanent. Old identities are loosening their grip. Stories that once defined you are dissolving. And although change can feel unsettling, it is also evidence that you are alive, that you are expanding beyond the familiar. Trust that the discomfort of transformation is not a sign of failure, but of progress. Every morning is an initiation, a sacred doorway into renewed possibility. Yesterday's doubts need not accompany you. They may knock, but you are not required to invite them inside. Instead, open the door to gratitude. Welcome curiosity, welcome wonder. Look at your hands. These hands can create, can comfort, can contribute. Look at your eyes. They can perceive beauty in the smallest detail. Look at your heart. It has endured, forgiven, and continued to beat through joys and sorrows alike. There is so much within you that deserves appreciation. When you honor your own existence as a blessing, you naturally begin to honor the existence of others. Judgment softens, compassion expands. You recognize that everyone you meet is carrying invisible hopes and hidden fears. And because you are anchored in trust, you can become a source of reassurance rather than reactivity. This is how transformation spreads quietly, person to person, heart to heart. There is a profound humility in acknowledging that you are both guided and guiding. You receive inspiration from a higher wisdom, and through your actions, you become a channel for that wisdom to flow outward. In this way, your gratitude is not confined to private reflection. It becomes embodied in how you treat the world. Walk gently, speak truthfully, act generously. These are not mere moral suggestions, they are expressions of alignment. When you live in harmony with the divine intelligence within you, your external life begins to mirror that harmony. Opportunities arise that resonate with your integrity. Relationships deepen in authenticity. Even challenges become more manageable because you approach them from clarity rather than panic. Trust does not guarantee ease, but it guarantees meaning. And meaning is what sustains the human spirit. When you perceive your experiences as purposeful, even difficulty becomes bearable. You begin to ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That subtle shift in inquiry transforms victimhood into empowerment. Gratitude fuels this shift. It reminds you that even when circumstances are imperfect, there is still goodness present. There is still breath. There is still awareness. There is still choice. You always retain the power to choose your inner posture. Today, choose to stand in reverence for the life moving through you. Choose to speak silently within your heart. I am supported in ways I may not yet understand. I am guided toward experiences that refine my character and expand my love. I am grateful for the path unfolding before me. Feel how those declarations recalibrate your nervous system. Feel how your shoulders soften, how your breath deepens. The body responds to belief. When you cultivate trust, your entire physiology aligns with calm confidence. And from that calm confidence, creativity blossoms. Ideas begin to surface. Solutions reveal themselves. Conversations flow more naturally. You become receptive to inspiration because your mind is no longer cluttered with constant resistance. There is a generosity in the universe that responds to openness. When you are inwardly closed, guarded by suspicion or resentment, you limit the flow of that generosity. But when you open through appreciation, you invite abundance to circulate freely. This is not superstition. It is resonance. Like attracts like. A thankful heart resonates with provision. A trusting mind resonates with guidance. A peaceful spirit resonates with clarity. Let this day be an experiment in resonance. Notice what happens when you approach each moment as sacred. Notice how interactions shift when you silently bless them before they unfold. Notice how your energy changes when you release the need to win and instead focus on understanding. You are here not merely to accomplish tasks, but to awaken. And awakening begins with awareness. Awareness that you are more than your roles, more than your achievements, more than your mistakes. You are consciousness itself, expressing temporarily through a human form. When you remember this, even ordinary routines take on a luminous quality. Washing dishes becomes an act of mindfulness. Driving to work becomes an opportunity for reflection. Listening becomes a form of service. Life ceases to be divided into sacred and mundane. Everything becomes sacred. Trust God not only in dramatic turning points, but in these quiet rituals. The divine is not confined to mountaintops or temples. It is present in your kitchen, in your workplace, in your daily conversations. And as you continue through this day, allow yourself to be surprised by grace. Allow yourself to see evidence of support where you once saw obstacles. Allow yourself to receive kindness without suspicion and to offer kindness without expectation. This is how a good day is created, not by eliminating uncertainty, but by infusing uncertainty with faith. You are walking through a world that is alive with possibility. Beneath every challenge lies potential. Within every ending lies the seed of a new beginning. And within you lies a wisdom that is ancient, steady, and infinitely compassionate. Trust it, give thanks for it, and move forward knowing that you are never navigating this journey alone. Do not worry, not because life is predictable, not because the world is always gentle, not because storms will not come, but because God is bigger than fear, and the presence that breathes you into existence at this very moment has never once abandoned its creation. You are not here by accident. You are not moving through a hostile universe. You are not a fragile body trying to survive a cruel world. You are a divine expression of an infinite source, temporarily experiencing the illusion of limitation and fear. Fear is the forgetting of that truth. I want you to imagine the ocean. On the surface, waves rise and fall. Some are calm, some are violent. Some crash against the shore with thunder, others roll in like a whisper. If a wave could think, it might say, I am separate, I am alone. I must compete with the other waves. I must fight against the wind. I must resist the shore. But the wave would be mistaken. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It has never been separate. It cannot be separate. Its very substance is the ocean itself. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. Fear is what happens when the wave forgets it is water. Worry is the mind's attempt to control what the soul already understands. The ego trembles because it believes it is alone. It believes it must predict, manage, defend, and manipulate in order to survive. The ego says, what if I fail? What if I lose? What if I am rejected? What if tomorrow does not go my way? And in those questions, the ego tightens its grip around your heart. But the soul whispers something far more powerful. I am held. I am guided. I am part of something infinite. God is not a distant figure measuring your worth. God is the very energy of life expressing itself as you. The intelligence that moves galaxies is the same intelligence beating your heart. The force that orchestrates seasons is the same force orchestrating your becoming. And if that is true, then what exactly are you afraid of? Fear is always about the future. It is a projection. It is imagination misused. It is creative energy turned against itself. You were given the divine gift of imagination to envision beauty, possibility, and expansion. Yet the ego hijacks this sacred tool and paints pictures of disaster. It rehearses loss. It predicts rejection. It magnifies uncertainty. And then it asks you to bow before its illusions. But I tell you now, do not worship what has not happened. You are not required to kneel before imagined tragedies. In this very moment are you breathing. In this very moment is your heart beating. In this very moment are you supported by the ground beneath you and the air around you. Then in this moment you are safe, and life is only ever happening now. The ego lives in what if. The soul lives in what is. What is right now is life flowing through you. What is right now is awareness, listening to these words. What is right now is a presence so vast and loving that it has carried you through every single challenge you have ever faced. Think about that. Every fear you once had about the past, you survived it. Every sleepless night of worry, you moved beyond it. Every uncertainty that once consumed your thoughts, it passed. Something greater than your fear carried you then. That same presence carries you now. The sky does not resist the clouds. It allows them. The clouds may darken, they may storm, they may rumble with intensity, but the sky remains untouched. The sky is not harmed by the storm, and you at your deepest level are not harmed by passing fears. You are the sky, vast and boundless. Fear is only a cloud. When you identify with the cloud, you tremble. When you remember you are the sky, you relax. Worry is the ego's declaration of independence from God. It says, I can handle this better than the infinite. I must control the outcome. I do not trust the flow. But what if the flow is wiser than your plans? What if the detour is protection? What if the delay is preparation? What if what appears to be loss is actually redirection? There is a deeper order moving through your life, an intelligence that sees beyond your limited vantage point. You see a single thread. God sees the entire tapestry. You see the closed door. God sees the corridor leading to a more aligned opening. You see the ending. God sees the transformation. Do not worry does not mean do nothing. It means act from faith rather than fear. It means move forward without the poison of panic. It means trust the inner guidance that arises from stillness, not the frantic voice that screams from anxiety. The ego shouts, the soul whispers. If you are constantly worried, you cannot hear the whisper. Silence is sacred because it reconnects you to source. In silence, you remember that you are not the voice in your head narrating catastrophe. You are the awareness behind the voice. You are the witness, and the witness is never afraid. Say this quietly within yourself. I am not my fear. I am not my worry. I am the presence observing them. Feel the shift that occurs when you say, I am. I am is the name of God expressing as you. Before you add anything after it, before you say, I am anxious, I am scared, I am uncertain, pause. Just remain with I am. In that space, there is no fear. There is only existence. Pure being. And pure being is untouched by imagined futures. The ego thrives on comparison and competition. It worries about status, image, approval. It measures itself against others and trembles at the thought of being less. But the oak tree does not compare itself to the pine. The rose does not envy the lily. Nature expresses itself uniquely without apology. Why should you be any different? You were not sent here to compete for worthiness. You were sent here as an extension of divine creativity. Your path is not a race, it is a revelation. Fear contracts. Love expands. When you are worried, your body tightens, your breath shortens, your world narrows. When you trust, your breath deepens, your shoulders soften, your perception widens. This is not philosophy alone. It is biology aligned with spirituality. Your nervous system responds to your thoughts, and your thoughts can either declare war or announce peace. What would happen if instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong, you began asking, what if everything is unfolding perfectly? What if this challenge is sculpting strength you cannot yet see? What if this uncertainty is dissolving attachments that no longer serve your evolution? What if this very moment is an initiation into deeper faith? God is not intimidated by your circumstances. There is no situation so complex, no diagnosis so severe, no financial challenge so overwhelming, no relationship so strained that the creative intelligence of the universe cannot transform it. But transformation requires trust, and trust requires surrender. Surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. It is the willingness to say, I do not have to control the ocean, I will learn to ride the wave. It is the courage to release the illusion that worry protects you. Worry does not prevent pain, it only steals presence. It robs you of the only place life can be experienced now. Ask yourself gently, what is my worry giving me? Is it bringing clarity? Is it producing solutions? Or is it rehearsing fear? Often, we cling to worry because it gives us a false sense of control. If I worry enough, perhaps I can prevent the worst. But the sun rises without your worry. The seasons change without your anxiety. Your heart beats without your supervision. Life is happening through you, not because of your constant mental interference. Imagine holding an orange in your hand. You squeeze it, orange juice comes out. Why? Because that is what is inside. If fear comes out of you when life squeezes you, it is because fear has been cultivated within. But if faith comes out, if compassion comes out, if calm strength comes out, it is because you have remembered who you are. You cannot control every squeeze, but you can choose what you cultivate within. Fill yourself with trust. Fill yourself with remembrance. Fill yourself with the quiet, knowing that you are connected to something vast. When pressure comes, what spills out will be aligned with that inner knowing. Do not worry about being perfect. Do not worry about having every answer. Do not worry about being approved by everyone around you. The need for external validation is the ego's hunger, and it is never satisfied. The soul seeks only alignment with truth. And truth is this: you are already enough. You are not becoming worthy. You are remembering worthiness. You are not striving to be loved. You are uncovering the love that is your essence. You are not fighting for survival in a random universe. You are awakening within an intelligent, responsive field of energy that mirrors your beliefs. If you believe you are alone, the world feels threatening. If you believe you are supported, the world begins to reflect opportunity. Change your inner declaration and your outer experience shifts. This does not mean you will never encounter difficulty. It means you will encounter it differently. You will meet it with steadiness instead of panic. You will ask, what is this here to teach me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? You will step out of victimhood and into authorship. There are no justified resentments because resentment ties you to what you claim to despise. In the same way, chronic worry ties you to the very future you fear. Release the attachment. Release the narrative. Forgive the past. Trust the unfolding. You are not here to shrink in the face of uncertainty. You are here to expand into faith. When fear arises, and it will do not fight it violently, observe it, speak to it, say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I choose trust. In that moment, you shift from being possessed by fear to being conscious of it, and consciousness dissolves illusion. God is bigger than your bank account. God is bigger than a medical report. God is bigger than rejection. God is bigger than global uncertainty. The infinite cannot be threatened by temporary conditions. And because you are an expression of the infinite, your essence cannot be threatened either. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a vast field of light extending beyond what you can see. That light is intelligent, it is loving, it is creative, and it is not separate from you. You are a focal point through which it expresses. Your thoughts either allow that light to flow or block it with doubt. Choose to allow, say within yourself, I trust the wisdom that created me. I trust the path unfolding before me. I trust that what is meant for me cannot miss me. Feel the resonance of those words. They are not empty affirmations. They are reminders of reality. The caterpillar does not worry about becoming a butterfly. The seed does not panic underground. There is a natural timing, a divine orchestration at work in all of life. Why would you be excluded from that order? You may not see the entire staircase, but you only need the next step. And when you take that step in faith, something remarkable happens. The universe responds. Doors open. Insights arise. Synchronicities appear. Not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. Fear is contraction into the small self. Faith is expansion into the infinite self. When you choose faith, you are not denying reality. You are choosing a higher interpretation of it. You are declaring that no matter what appears externally, internally, you remain anchored. You remain rooted. You remain aware that you are more than this moment's challenge. One day, you will look back on this season of your life and see how unnecessary much of your worry was. You will see how life carried you, guided you, shaped you, and you will smile gently at the version of yourself that trembled. Why wait until then? Right now, in this breath, you can release the tension. Right now, you can unclench your jaw, soften your shoulders, deepen your inhale. Right now, you can whisper, I am safe in God's embrace. The mind may argue. Let it. The ego may protest. Let it. You are not required to believe every thought you think. Thoughts are clouds. You are the sky. And the sky has never been harmed by passing weather. Do not worry. Not because life is simple, but because you are not navigating it alone. There is a presence within you that knows the way. There is a wisdom beneath your fear that is steady and unwavering. There is a love that holds you even when you forget to hold yourself. God is bigger than fear. And when you remember that, not just intellectually, but viscerally, something shifts. The frantic urgency dissolves. The desperate need to control softens. You begin to move with life rather than against it. Let today be the day you choose trust over torment. Let today be the day you release the addiction to worst-case scenarios. Let today be the day you return to the quiet certainty that you are guided. You are not a fragile accident in a chaotic world. You are a divine being having a human experience. You are the ocean appearing as a wave. You are the sky allowing clouds. You are the light temporarily dancing with shadow. And no shadow has ever extinguished the sun. So breathe, trust, surrender, act with love, release with grace. And whenever fear whispers, answer gently but firmly, God is bigger than this. Then step forward, not as a worried mind, but as awakened presence. And watch how life begins to meet you with the same faith you have chosen to embody. And as you step forward in that awakened presence, something subtle yet profound begins to rearrange itself within you. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself with fireworks or applause. It is a quiet recalibration of your inner compass. You begin to notice that the same situations that once stirred anxiety now invite awareness. The same uncertainties that once felt threatening now feel like open space, space where trust can stretch its wings. Fear once convinced you that uncertainty was danger, but uncertainty is simply the canvas upon which creation paints. If everything were known, predetermined, and guaranteed, there would be no room for faith. And faith is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. It is the soul's way of walking into mystery without trembling. You were not designed to know everything. You were designed to align with the source that knows. There is a profound difference. The ego demands guarantees before it will move. The spirit moves and discovers that the ground appears beneath its feet. When a child learns to walk, it does not calculate every possible fall. It does not consult statistics about balance and gravity. It trusts the impulse within it to rise. And even when it stumbles, it does not interpret the fall as a verdict on its worth. It simply stands again, Somewhere along the way, you were taught to interpret every misstep as a personal flaw. You were conditioned to believe that outcomes determine value. And so worry became your companion, an attempt to avoid falling, to avoid failing, to avoid being seen as less than enough. But what if falling is part of flying? What if every apparent setback is a recalibration of direction? The river does not curse the rock in its path. It does not panic and declare my journey is over. It bends, it flows around, it adapts without losing its destination. And in that flexibility, it discovers new beauty. You are that river. You are not meant to be rigid with fear. You are meant to be fluid with faith. When you cling to worry, your energy contracts around imagined outcomes. When you release it, your energy becomes available for inspiration. An inspiration, that inner spark of divine guidance, can only reach you when there is space. Worry fills the mind with noise. Trust opens it to wisdom. There is an intelligence within you that does not operate through panic. It speaks through intuition. It nudges gently. It feels like a quiet knowing rather than a frantic urgency. The ego's voice feels tight, rushed, pressured. The soul's voice feels calm, spacious, certain without needing to shout. You begin to notice the difference. When a decision arises, pause. Instead of asking, what if this goes wrong, ask, what feels aligned? Alignment is not about external approval. It is about inner resonance. It is about sensing whether your choice expands your heart or constricts it. The body is a messenger. It reveals whether you are moving from fear or from love. Your heart does not beat in anxiety. It beats in rhythm with life. You do not have to micromanage the unfolding of your destiny. You are not the architect of the entire universe. You are a participant in its dance. And the dance does not require you to predict every step. It requires you to be present for the music. And the music is always playing. Even in silence, there is movement. Even in stillness, there is growth. Seeds germinate in darkness. Muscles strengthen in rest. Clarity often emerges after surrender. If you are in a season where nothing seems to be happening, do not interpret it as stagnation. Beneath the surface, roots are forming. Trust the unseen processes of your life. Fear insists that if you cannot see progress, there is none. But so much of transformation is invisible until it is undeniable. A sculptor chisels away stone long before the statue reveals itself. From the outside, it appears as destruction. From the inside, it is refinement. Perhaps what feels like loss in your life is actually chiseling. Perhaps what feels like delay is preparation. Perhaps what feels like isolation is initiation. There is a vast difference between being alone and being aligned. When you align with the divine presence within you, you realize that solitude is not emptiness, it is communion. It is a sacred meeting between your human experience and your eternal essence. And in that communion, worry begins to dissolve because you recognize that you are never navigating this existence unsupported. Every breath is evidence of partnership with something greater. You do not command your lungs to inhale in your sleep. Life breathes you. If life can breathe you without your conscious effort, can it not also guide you beyond your conscious worry? The mind wants control because it fears chaos. But what appears as chaos is often complexity beyond your limited vantage point. Imagine standing inches away from a vast painting. You would see only random strokes, confusing colors, no coherent form. Step back, and an image emerges. Step back further, and beauty reveals itself. Your current circumstances are brushstrokes. You are invited to trust the larger composition. Worry narrows your focus to the single stroke. Faith steps back and remembers the masterpiece. And here's a deeper truth. You are not only in the painting, you are also the artist. The same creative force shaping galaxies is expressing through your intentions, your thoughts, your beliefs. When you align those inner elements with trust instead of fear, you collaborate consciously with that force. Say within yourself, I choose to co-create from love. Feel how different that is from attempting to control from fear. Control is exhausting. Co-creation is energizing. When you attempt to control every outcome, you place yourself in opposition to the flow of life. When you co-create, you ask, how may I serve this moment? What is life asking of me now? And that question opens a doorway to meaning rather than anxiety. Meaning dissolves fear. When you understand that even challenges carry purpose, You stop resisting them so fiercely. Resistance intensifies suffering. Acceptance softens it. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means acknowledging what is present without layering it with panic. You can face a difficulty and remain rooted in inner stillness. You can walk through uncertainty and remain anchored in faith. You can experience grief and still trust in the continuity of the soul. These are not contradictions. They are the hallmarks of spiritual maturity. There is a strength within you that has nothing to do with physical power or external status. It is the strength of alignment. It is the strength of knowing who you are beyond titles, beyond roles, beyond temporary conditions. Who are you without your worries? If you remove the narratives about what might go wrong, what would remain? You would remain pure awareness, pure being, pure presence. And that presence is unthreatened by future scenarios because it exists only now. The present moment is not fragile, it is complete. Everything required for this moment is already here. When tomorrow arrives, it will also bring everything required for it. You do not have to import tomorrow's strength into today. You will receive what you need when you need it. Trust that. The sun does not rise early to prepare for noon. It rises when it is time. You, too, are allowed to move in rhythm rather than in rush. Fear rushes. Love unfolds. As you continue this journey, you may notice that worry attempts to return, whispering old stories. Do not condemn yourself for that. Conditioning does not dissolve overnight, but each time you choose trust instead of tension, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen a new pathway. Transformation is repetition of truth. Return again and again to the awareness that you are held within something infinite. Return again and again to the breath that anchors you in now. Return again and again to the remembrance that God is not a distant rescuer, but an indwelling presence. And from that remembrance, live. Live not as someone bracing for impact, but as someone open to grace. Live not as someone scanning for danger, but as someone attuned to possibility. Live not as someone defined by fear, but as someone awakened to their divine identity. You are not here to survive your life. You are here to experience it as a sacred unfolding. And as you release the habit of worry, you begin to experience something extraordinary, a quiet joy that does not depend on perfect conditions, a serenity that is not shaken by temporary storms, a confidence rooted not in ego, but in connection. This is inner freedom. This is the realization that no matter what appears in your external world, there is a sanctuary within you, untouched by circumstance. Enter that sanctuary often. Sit there in stillness, listen, and you will hear a voice that has always been there, steady and unwavering, saying, "You are guided, you are supported, you are loved beyond measure." Let that voice become louder than fear. Let that truth become stronger than doubt. And walk forward not because you have eliminated uncertainty, but because you have embraced trust as your companion. For truly, deeply, eternally, God is bigger than fear.